Hi guys, it's Lindsay. Welcome back to The Wandering Reader. Today I'm going to be doing a review of Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. Before I get into my review of this absolutely brilliant debut novel, I wanted to mention that I put up a video where I talked about the fact that I'd reached 1,000 subscribers a couple of weeks ago and said I was going to do a Q&A video where you guys can ask me any questions that you like, bookish and non-bookish, and I will be answering some of those questions in that video. I've had lots of great questions so far, so thank you very much to everybody who has commented. I think I'm going to kind of leave it for another week before I collate all of those questions. So I'm going to leave a link in the cards and down below to that video so that you can go and watch that and add any comments and questions that you guys have. And then, like I said, I'll be collating those and filming that pretty soon. So let's get into the review, guys. So like I said, this is Gail Honeyman's debut novel, and this came out towards the end of 2017 and I read it in December. This tells the story of Eleanor, and Eleanor's a bit of a loner. She lives by herself in a flat. She has a very strict routine. So, you know, she goes to work Monday to Friday. On a Friday after work, she goes to M&S and she buys herself a margherita pizza, a bottle of white wine and 2-litre bottles of vodka, and then she goes home and consumes those over the weekend. She doesn't really have any friends. She's not great at socialising. She doesn't really want to socialise with anybody. So when it comes to sort of work parties and stuff like that, she doesn't go to them. And one day something happens to change the kind of direction of her life. So she comes out of work and is talking to a colleague, which is obviously quite unusual, and they come across a man who's had, I think, a heart attack in the road, and they call an ambulance for him and things like that. And then that sparks a bit of a different path for her life. What I really loved about this book was just simply Eleanor's character. There was so much to love about her and you just wanted to root for her the entire time. But also she was so quirky and so different that she was just really interesting to read about, and I just loved following her journey. There's a lot of commentary in this book on lots of really interesting topics. So for example, there's lots of commentary on the foster care system in the UK. There's lots of commentary on loneliness and relationships and kind of what's normal and what's not, and you know, those kind of blurred distinctions, and you know, can we define what normal is, you know, that sort of idea. I really liked Raymond's character in here as well. I thought he was a really sweet guy, you know, really caring, and the sort of friendship that is built up between him and Eleanor in the book is really lovely to follow. There are lots of bits and pieces that are thrown into the book that kind of are there to make you go, oh, I didn't really know, I want to know a little bit more about that. So for example, there's this character called Mummy, who's obviously Eleanor's mother, and we're not quite sure whether she at the beginning of the book is in prison or not, and we're kind of wondering why she's in prison, and then the way that she speaks to Eleanor on the phone is very strange, and their whole relationship is very strange. You're kind of left wondering about exactly what's going on with that whole situation, why Eleanor ended up in foster care in the first place and in this situation in her life in the first place. And yeah, I just, for a debut novel, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Gave it 5 stars. Cannot wait to see what she brings out next. I'm pretty sure that this has been picked up to be adapted into a movie, so I'd be interested to see who they pick to play Eleanor and how that kind of weave the story together on screen. But it would be definitely something that I want to go and watch, just because I love the story so much. So this has probably been talked about on BookTube quite a bit, and it recently won the Costa First Novel Award, so it's been in the news quite a bit as well. So if you feel like this is kind of too hyped up and you don't know whether it's worth the hype, and and you know you've heard quite a lot about it but you're not really sure whether it will be for you, I highly urge you to pick it up. I've urged my husband to read it. He hasn't read it yet, but it's definitely one on his list that he wants to read, just because it's one of those books that I just think anybody could read and really enjoy and get a lot out of. So like I said, if you're on the fence, I would definitely recommend picking it up. It's out in hardback at the moment, and I think it's due to come out in paperback later on this year, or of course you can pick up a copy of it from your library. Amanda from Cook Read Create has also listened to this on audiobook, and she has really recommended the audiobook. So if you're that kind of reader as well, then perhaps that's an option for you. So there you go guys, that was my review of Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. I'd love to have a chat with you in the comments below. Have you read this book? What did you think of it? Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.